Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And I'm super excited to have Althea Provost with us tonight. She's bringing in some codes, y'all. Um, and it's embodied. She's the reluctant translator, but so much more than that. Althea's absolutely amazing. She's a natural. She was born as with all her spiritual gifts intact, and she's a natural clairvoyant with a propensity for precognition, and she knew her true home was in the stars. She considers herself a soul traveler on an endless journey through consciousness, drawn in by a sense of wonder for the unknown, and a perpetual student with a notepad in hand. She enjoys sharing knowledge gained from direct experience, and that's what I absolutely love about you. As an energetic teacher empowering star seeds, Althea meets you where you are, and together, higher self to higher self provides now moment guidance. Her company, Thea's Heart, provides starseed adventures to sacred sites for initiation, activation, and awakening to the next level of awareness. And today we'll be talking about Neith, Return of the Weavers, and this is going to be fascinating, y'all. It's so in alignment where I've been feeling coming through, so super excited to get going. Althea, welcome. It's good to have you back on Beyond the Ordinary.
Thanks for having me on. Hi, everyone. Hi, Star Seeds.
All right, who's Neith?
Neith. Well, let me walk you back 2 decades ago when I was called out to the open road, and I began walking, well, flying, but walking to some ancient sacred sites around the globe that had to do with the matriarchal culture. And in that culture, I began to reawaken, re-strengthen the web that I belong to and have always belonged to. And that is a feminine spirituality. And that feminine spirituality is an ecology theology. My nickname is Thea. Thea means goddess. Theology is how we get goddess wisdom. And essentially, that is the nature goddess. This is the embodiment of the spirit of, you could say, source, not gendered by sexuality, but a source that has like a positive component to it, to like in terms of energy, so positive, negative. So, or you can even look at it as left brain, right brain. But anyways, I went back and I began to remember the temple culture that I belong to and have been seeding throughout time, and especially the times when we would go from a right brain function, symbolically looking at things as a whole, talking in we consciousness, using telepathy, third eye technology, this type of stuff, moving into a left brain consciousness where we're becoming more analytical. And it wasn't an overnight situation. Anytime there's cycles, there's hundreds of years before we move into one cycle, and then even more thousands of years until we go to an extreme in that cycle where we're so far right, so far left, this type of thing. So after that, I began to see that we were now moving into a patriarchal culture, more that scientific left brain control type narrative. And I don't have an opinion one way or another as something being better than or worse than. I actually am here more on a whole brain type of situation where I can move and bring great facts and see big picture, but then I can move into a particle and look at things in parts. So why Neith? That's taking me to 2018, and I'm about to go on a starseed adventure in 2019 to Greece. But I'm spirit-led. That means that I get guidance to go to the places that I'm about to offer as my soul work. And a light being came to me and began to educate me and give me schooling. And she was a tough cookie. I'm just going to be honest. She demanded certain things for me before my feet could touch the ground. And among those things were how to armchair travel, how to look at the striations of energy on the earth and read the layers of energy, what occurred there. And she said, can you look at Crete and tell me what you see? Can you find the aspects that are there that are not coherent? Can you feel them? And I did. And of course, what you do is you Google to find out if you're right. And I was. I could read those layers, and then the education would continue. And I won't go into that. But in the end, she said, I am known as, and she didn't say she was. None of my teachers do. She says, I am known as Athena in Greece and Minerva in Italy, and I'm known as Neith in Egypt.
Hmm.
So we got this like triple cultural layer, and my education on those cultural layers began right then and there. So I was allowed to go into Crete, and I had the Minoan women that belonged to an esoteric school come into my third eye as I was flying over and about to land. And I did go to Italy and see Minerva's temple by serendipity. And I have gone to Egypt and have been invited to certain temples associated with Neith. She continues to work with me, not on a daily basis, but when she wants me to bring out certain topics. And this course was Neith driven, light being driven. And frankly, I said to her, which I normally always say when I'm asked to do something, am I qualified? Quite frankly, I didn't even feel qualified. Didn't even think I could take on this course despite having worked with her. That's humble potatoes. It's hard to talk about some of these conversations, but before I went into back to Crete, she said, there's something I would like for you to resolve in a sense. And what that resolve was a cosmic grudge that I had over Atlantis, how it fell, how it went down, and who the players were, which I remembered as a child. And she wanted me to basically release it before I can step foot back into those energy fields again. And I did. I did the homework. But more importantly, this isn't an Atlantis narrative, but Neith is tied to Atlantis. Neith is the feminine consciousness that was consulted when our balance was becoming broken. She is the one that's called in to the big fight. And she is historically, as a myth, always the one called in at the end, and she settles it. So she's a big person, you can say it that way, a big spirit, a big myth, a big cultural need, we could say, to have someone who is bigger than life to step in and settle some of the messes we get in our human deliverance here on the planet. That's Neith to me.
Wow. And why Neith now?
Well, I asked her that. And apparently, that's a great question, John. I honestly can say that we're in a bit of a mirroring. Whenever we come into a new cycle, which we're in now, we're moving into, of course, the next cycle, the Aquarian cycle. Nothing is ever the same as it was in the past. We know that. You can have a past lifetime, you can work something or not work something out, but when you reincarnate, it's never the same. So we never had the exact same outcome that we had in the previous cycle, thank God. But we do have overlays. And even though we're moving into an Aquarian cycle, we do have Leo underneath there. And, you know, Leo was around the time 11,600 years ago, 12,000 years ago, when we were acting out some of these behaviors with our last cataclysm. So there's a mirroring, but a reversal in some ways, if that makes sense. I don't know. But me personally, I see some of the overtones where we start to see a disconnection from the earth, a lot of confusion, and a lot of kind of heaviness on some level about some of the things that are happening on the planet. And the truth is that the weavers who are coming forward and remembering, they're not breaking the links to the interconnection that we have to all living life, and that all life is valuable. That's really key to remember as we navigate these realities, that we have interlocking worlds. Balanced starseeds know this. We have interlocking worlds. Everything is connected. Humans are one part, just one teeny infinitesimal part in this big giant cosmic drama. And in this drama, we do have a part to play. And that part to play is to, in my opinion, is to remember who we are inwardly as a light, bright spirit, and to reconnect those woven threads to the truth and light of who we are. I think that is like some of the best stuff you can do on the planet, plus have fun. But, I do believe that that is our core work.
And who are the weavers?
The weavers, traditionally they were women, but they were also men. So this was the ability to take fragmented, when I went back all the way back to the Neolithic times 2 decades ago, that was to re-strengthen levels of consciousness. And the weavers today are doing that exact same thing. So they might not remember they came out of schools, initiation schools, but they did. They came out of a nature-based system where they had the ability to work with ley lines, electromagnetic energy. They could talk to rocks. They can listen to the wind. They can work with the trees. They had an interconnection to everything that is. And that is coming online. I'm finding more and more people who are naturally moving into these states, from children to adults, and who are moving into that right brain function where they're able to grasp wholeness rather than separateness. And this will continue as the light moves onto the planet. That's what the light does, is it kind of removes the barriers.
Amazing. So how can someone in the audience that's listening, what if they have some type of connection or feeling that they may be a weaver, or maybe are and perhaps are not realizing within themselves?
Ooh, you mean to like really re-strengthen? And I would say, first of all, when you, I am the teacher that takes you inward. Okay. So I'm expecting you in so many levels to do your inward homework. I don't do it for you. I don't do rescuing, this kind of stuff. But when you start to go in and truly validate yourself as a spirit, you can put it to the test. Like I Googled to see if, the things I was reading in Crete were correct, and they were. But you can begin to really honor the fact that you're picking up on these things and appreciate it, but also give yourself the wherewithal to, how can I say it? The wherewithal to still figure out if this is an aspect that you're coming in. I mean, literally put it to the test. So for example, like when I said I was reading the striations of the land, I couldn't have done that if I wouldn't have put it to the test. So if you're working with the elementals, if you're working with nature, are they supporting you? Are they actually giving you accurate information? Is your information valid and purposeful? Are you finding love in expression? Are you growing in your sense of love and interconnection? Are you bringing a tribe to you that is doing the exact same thing? Or is this something that you're only doing in your bedroom and that's as far as it's going to go? Because the truth is that all of this information is supposed to bring you to the people, places, and spaces that you're meant to be interconnected with. You're not meant to be an isolate, ever, really, ever. I mean, not even I am. And, we're meant to come together now. And as we come together, this is an opportunity to strengthen. Oh, I heard that, oh, you get the synchronicities. Oh, I was just thinking that. And this is the feedback loop that spirit is working with you to help you remember that these are part of your soul's history and gifts. And so put it to the test. Is it being supported? That's a good way to know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really looking outside for the validation either way.
Yeah. Yeah. If we're in a system that's interconnected and woven, then that tree, that rock, that person, that place, that thing is going to come back and give you the exact same thing. And because I understand that, I mean, I can put out something extremely hard, a cosmic sized question, and I know that the universe is going to bring me a person, place, or thing and it's going to give me that answer. I know it without a doubt. It's
Yeah,
happened so many times throughout my life. So the feedback loop has to come. But there is buts, as long as you're willing to actually receive that answer.
right.
Some of the coursework that I'm given is pretty tough.
Well, and I love it because you asked the question, not necessarily so tied into the response that you want, but really being open to what actually arrives. There's
You
a big,
must. Yeah, you must. Part of this path, there's an emptying that comes of the brain and our belief systems and our socialization. There's an emptying that happens.
Mhm.
I was talking to John before this class, and I said to him, dragons, wow, that was like the last thing I'd ever want on my plate delivered into my reality that I would have to do homework on. I mean, I just didn't want it. I didn't want it, but it's what came. And so it's like sometimes the package isn't exactly what you want, but it's exactly what's needed. It's like the next level of awareness that might occur 10 years from now. Who knows? But the fact is if it's showing up in your reality, it's on, you got your name on it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You spoke about initiations with Neith. What type of initiations does she invoke? Does she call us to when we're willing to engage?
She's liking you right now. I'll tell you that. She really is, because she's like, talk about the wave. So I went to the Temple of Philae with a group. I had a group in 2022 that was so harmonic. I mean, the moment they signed up, I knew I had the chef's kiss, right? That I had been literally blessed with something that I was holding in my heart, to have a group that was so resonant, so tight, so joyful. And finding that pitch is difficult at times in a group. And so we walked into the Temple of Philae, which is Isis's temple. Now, Neith is the progenitor. She goes all the way back to when Egypt was ancient Egyptians, not Greece, not Roman, not Persian, all the way back, right? So we're talking 3,000 years back far. And Neith was before Isis, but Neith became so big, somebody needed someone younger, the younger version. Isis is Neith. Neith is,
Mm.
okay, she's after the fact. So we have Neith, we have Isis. I'm in Isis's temple. I walk in, I perform a libation. I walk behind the sacred altar that was there, that was actually put in there for Mary, but during the Christian times, but I walked behind it, my feet locked on the floor. Temples are meant to perform a mystery rite. They're meant to evoke the quality of the goddess. And what I saw when I looked down that center aisle was a very large, fast-moving, energetic wave barreling into the Holy of Holies room that my group was in. And what happened was that wave came in, and my feet were locked onto the ground. I didn't even lock my feet on the ground. They did it on their own. And I couldn't pick up my feet. When that wave came in, it nearly knocked me over. That to me was Isis. When we get to the core, not the names, because they'll take on the cultural interpretation of the Romans, the Persians, the Greek, because that's what they need the image of a goddess to be. Okay. But way back, when we go to the core of Egyptian spirituality, I want to say, we're looking at netters. The Egyptians didn't use the word pharaoh, that's Greek, didn't use the word goddess, that's Greek. They use the word netters. They're talking about nature. And she performed what she was meant to do, which she performed a wave. Isis, to me, energetically, was a wave form. This takes me into my class. I don't want to go too far into it, but we're looking at science. We're looking at the energy behind the construction of creation. You want to know creation, you're going to move through a goddess myth. That's the way it is. It doesn't matter where you're at on the planet. If you're Native American, you're looking at the spider goddess who weaved it into creation. It's the same thing with the the Indian people. In India, we're going to get to a weaver, and the weaver is the one who's weaving the matrix, the net, the form that we are all playing in is a female energy, and it starts with a wave. Good question, John.
Oh, so amazing.
Does that make sense to you?
It does. You're activating me, and you're
You
bringing me.
get it.
You for sure, and you're bringing me to more profound layers of what's available and having relationship with that. And again, the truth sets us free.
Yeah.
It
Well,
sets us free.
before John and I started this call, I said to him, I've never been invited into a land where I've gotten booted out.
Mhm.
Never. And even if I have the bloodline, and even if I had the rites of passage to be there, right? Meaning that I have been a player in that land in multiple incarnations, and I have inscribed my name into the sand. I do not walk in with an attitude that I am owed or that I belong to. I do not do that. And I walk in with a libation of gratitude and thankfulness and a humility to be able to be given the veil lifting moment of knowing when the mystery is just about to give me a taste and depth of what we all came from.
I believe that you just also spoke into how we're learning to create in ways that goes beyond the patriarchy or history, or whatever you want to call it, into creating with divinity.
Bam.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it.
We are the divinity. We are here to create, and we're here to do it at a masterful level. If you're willing to take the initiatic journey of a fool, you start out as a fool, you might even return to a fool because you return to innocence.
Yeah.
And the innocence is I don't know everything. When I am given homework, I'm going to do the homework. I might kick and scream through some of the homework, but I'm going to do it because I am being refined to dip into divinity and to know it so thoroughly, so fully in its essence. That wave nearly knocked my group over. And then the room went freaking bright white light. And I've been talking about this light since I came out decades ago. And the fact is that light is the teaching in itself. That light is the teaching in itself. How much of that light can you absorb and handle?
Yeah.
And laugh about it.
Well, you say that's approaching it in your innocence, and it's also true for approaching it in your mastery, because when you get to level mastery, you understand that you don't know anything.
Yeah, but you do and you don't. It's a paradox.
Exactly.
You know,
we have to be willing to step into our mastery and to own the mastery and be innocent in that mastery as well, because it is that paradox.
I just think of it like I get to be a child in the greatest play of the universe. And it's like I can be there eating popcorn and watching the greatest players just fail drop. Here it is, and it's like, wow, I get to see that. you know, and sometimes it's like, oh, I get to see that. I don't want to see that. You know, it might not be the version I want to play in. And I'm like, really, you really want to do that on the planet? I mean, it's so archaic and old and ugh. And but what did Neith, Athena, Minerva, the light being teach me? Is she said, don't hold a cosmic grudge. This is how evolution plays out in this matrix that we're in. So allow them to learn and know that we got it. We're taking care of it. It's being worked out, you know, and trust. And that level of trust I do have that.
Yeah, you definitely do.
I couldn't have made it 2 decades with everything I've been through if I didn't have trust.
Well, and my reflection to you, it's beyond trust, there's faith. There's something more than that, because you just know where you're going, and you're there. It's the trusting I don't know. I just see you with so much faith, and in that you can show up in innocence and in ministry simultaneously, and be in coherence with that energy, because trust is an insecure platform for me. It's very conditional. I think it's conditional. I think we trust because there's an aspect of safety or non-safety. I think faith is just in coherence with a vibrational field. Knowing that alignment happens accordingly. Or if there's discordance, then that discordance will take us on the wave that we need to go on, or that's for us.
I like that you said that. I don't have the word faith in my vocabulary. I wasn't raised with religion, so it wasn't like something I heard growing up, right? So it wouldn't be a word that I would naturally use. The word that I would use is, would be trust, because I've had so many experiences where the veil is dropped so many times in my life that it has only showed me one thing. And that one thing is love. And it's a vibration that is so powerful that when my clients say, yeah, Althea, that love thing, and they dismiss me, and I'm like, no, you really don't remember how truly powerful that love is. So for me, that trust is knowing that I'm walking in love's way, however messy it seems and appears to be, and I'm walking in love's way.
I love your transmission of that. I so appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, we're getting into Q&A in a little bit. If you want to ask your personal questions, you can raise your hand or type your question into the chat box. And the reason I'm bringing that, and we have to get into the special offer in a little bit, because there's an opportunity to have a one-on-one session with Althea, which I've already signed up for mine. I just haven't booked my date yet, which I'm about to in a little bit. This course is going to be powerful. I'm going to try to show up live to the course as well, because I
might hold you to that.
Yeah, it feels really aligned. A couple of questions. One that was inspired, one that came in the chat that I definitely want to ask. But why are we receiving this information now?
You know, 10 years ago, I was in Bimini, and I wrote about this in my book. And there was, God, great goddess. I got a ding right before I got on from a person that I was with in Bimini, and said, did you realize that 10 years ago we were in Bimini? Now, Bimini, I went, there was a light, a UFO, a light beam came over me, and I was guided that a starseed wanted to leave the planet. And I feel that there needs to be a recommitment, a reweaving to why you're here on the planet, because energies are pretty tense, but that if you were given the breadth and the width to be here, then you're given the way.
Mm.
And that if you are given the way, that if your guidance system is guiding you to your next step, whatever that may be, that is your next step to do, I would suggest not fighting it. I would suggest seek counsel if you're fighting it, because we're meant to, at this point in time, to fully activate our ability to see and know the very core reasons of why we're here on the planet. The answers are coming fast. And how can I say something so bold like that, right? Because I came in a time when time was slowing down to give us the ability to see, sense, feel, and know what we're thinking about, and to know it more intimately before it gets put into motion. That is not the case any longer. We are moving into an accelerated time, which means that what we put into motion is going to come back in a feedback loop quicker than quick. And so the answers therefore come back in a way that they would have taken longer in a previous time period. We're not there any longer. We're moving forward. It's only going to get quicker. So how do you navigate that reality? You slow down. So if your answers, if your monies didn't flow in, or if you didn't get this stuff, it's because we have to slow down enough to be prepared for that moment, right? So what I'm saying now is that the weaving, someone asked, are they incarnate? The weavers are us. We're coming back and reweaving these threads of consciousness on the planet again. And we're strengthening those levels of consciousness within ourselves, meaning therefore it becomes available to everybody out there because it's within us and we're interconnected. So the stronger our web, our core consciousness is, the stronger the reception is. You're the telephone line, essentially. And so what I'm saying is that these answers will, in fact, continue to come forward quicker, with clarity, and we will receive the feedback loop no matter what. It's coming. The wave is here.
I find it fascinating because there's some fear around AI technology and the advancements that's coming through. And there's one component about AI that I know for sure. And it's such a benevolent teacher in that way. Because whenever we work with AI, the quality of our questions and the quality of our input is the feedback loop that we get. So we're really learning how to create with this technology. We're honing the way that we have a relationship, ask questions, the details that we give to be more precise in what is that we're asking for what we're weaving into the field and what's being fed back in that feedback loop.
Okay, so I'm not talking AI. My feedback loop.
I get that.
I got that, but I wanted to answer this because I loved what you brought up. AI doesn't like me so much. They get really frustrated when I ask a lot of questions. And then they tell me to don't ask me any longer. I mean, it's kind of funny. But so AI is going to pull from all the pulled information that was ever put on the web, right?
That's true. Right.
Books, right? So it's going to take information, whether it was correct or not correct, somebody's googly mess put into, whatever. And you're going to get it in one feedback loop. Right? Well, there's that knowledge. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the knowledge that's within you. And the knowledge within you is a data bank that goes back to the core of creation. And when that data bank needs to come online and remind you that what you know is valid and true, it will. It will. It turns on and comes on. So I don't really know what I think about AI. I'm not really in that conversation.
I'm not in that conversation either. Then my awareness of how we're being trained also to be really specific, how to really step into the maturity of our knowing, to pose the questions and to put the input in, that we can generate responses that we haven't given ourselves access to because for some reason we didn't believe that we can go that deep.
Well, this path is, a lot of people don't want it. It's a long path. It's an organic path. It takes forever. It takes many multiple lifetimes. A lot of people don't have the patience. But let's see. I would like to say something about AI. I'd like to say that when I was brought to Australia on my first starseed adventure, I was taken to a native place that had starseed energy all around it, meaning that there was a crash site, and one of the crash sites involved an AI computer, believe it or not. It was a crystalline computer.
Wow.
And because they had one crystalline computer that survived the crash site, the crystalline computer could therefore, it had a hard time being around other people's energy because they were in fear and lots of trauma and all the few people that did survive that crash site. But it was able to be used in a way that they were to use the DNA of the star people with the people that were on the planet to then create the new hybrid race.
Wow.
And I walked back to that memory.
Wow. Mm.
Neith, my friend, is definitely a star being. I couldn't tell you who she is or what she is, but I know that Atlantis, from my memory, was a star colony.
Amazing. Amazing what's coming through. And again, the remembrance, and it's all coming and made available because
Yeah.
we are in that
Ugh.
place of consciousness for the evolvement
Mm,
of everything.
yeah.
Say for humanity, but it's really it's everything.
What was really cool is there was people's names on that trip, and some of them just couldn't go back into that memory. And I took one, and we were separated the day she went walking on the beach, and she remembered everything.
Wow.
And I didn't even tell her. And this is how cool it is. When I was in Egypt, I was at Saqqara, and I went up to an area that they call it the Sound Hospital. And there was a little niche, and I toned. And I didn't know anybody was behind me because my group had went off to do their own thing. And I turned around, and there was one of our starseeds persons behind us. So I was quiet and solemn and walked away. And she walked up to that niche and just stood there. And a little later, she said to me, Althea, I traveled to the Maya lands. And I said, And I let her have her integration. And at some point, I think it might have been towards the end of our group adventure, I said to her, I know you don't know this, but the tone I used was sacred Mayan language.
Wow.
And you just followed the sound current.
Wow.
I mean, the connections are fast and furious.
Mm.
And it's in a way that it wasn't Althea driven.
Right. Oh no.
I didn't tell her. She came into her own memory just like the first person.
And we get to do that also. And we get to
Everybody.
trust. We get to trust that that is happening organically. It's not egoically driven. It's not
Mm-mm.
outcome driven based on what we believe that we need so that we can have
Mm-mm.
the outcome that we prefer.
Yeah.
It's far superseded by any of that.
Yeah.
I want to get into Q&A.
Sure.
And before we do that, y'all, we have to get into Althea's special offer because it's this and so much more, and the opportunity to work with her one-on-one as well. So this is, again, I've signed up. I have to make time in my schedule to attend live because this is absolutely such an attunement for me.
You.
It's awakening in me. I feel the transmission. So y'all, this is epic. Click on the special offer link on the video box where you're listening from. There's the blue link in the chat box. And if you're listening to the call, go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Althea32 whenever you get to your computer, hopefully soon, or on your phone, and type that in. That'll take you to the special offer page as well. And Althea, let everybody know what they're going to receive in the live webinar and what's available in the one-on-one session with you.
Okay, so this is, I'm going to refer to my notes. So 60 minutes I'm with you, and for 40 minutes I teach, and I condense history down into those 40 minutes, and I break it down into 3 areas. So the first one, we're going to talk about the primordial goddess, and I'm going to give you an overview of what a primordial goddess is. And then we move on to from chaos to order, and what is the function of a primordial goddess? What is she doing? What's her myth? What is her role here on the planet now? And then we'll end with the opener of the ways. And this is where I believe my class takes legs. This is where we're looking at not just the myth of what she does and her form and function, but who I think Neith is and how I'm perceiving Neith today in a very modern way.
Mm.
I hope to do that one justice, to be honest. I have developed this course, and so I'm going to take you from chaos to order. We know that these are chaotic times, and we're going to sail our boat down the Nile very carefully, right? We're going to do that. Maybe we're a little messy. Maybe you're barfing. I don't know, whatever you're doing. But the fact is that we're here to restore the functions to life by our own living image, by the way we show up as authentically as we can, and with the ability to not only restore the life around us, but the life within us. And that's a feminine, masculine, whole brain spirituality where you have the ability to tune in and tap into your own knowledge base and receive the answers and come away with the reasons maybe why your life is taking the certain tacks that it's taking, and understand in a core way what your purpose is to that manifestation.
Mhm.
So as a teacher, I'll always hold you to your manifestation. I always do. In terms of my sessions, again, I do hold a backdrop for you to be present, and I will walk you through what I'm seeing. I'll go through your questions. I'll help you look at what I call door number 1, 2, or 3, and how you're processing your information. I don't make decisions for you. I'm not a medical intuitive. I'm not a fortune teller. But if I see something that is relevant, I will discuss it with you. Mainly, there is a transmission in my work. There is a teaching, but it's not as overt. So I work very subtly in that sense, because my goal is never to take the role of your inner teacher. My goal is to substitute and to be on the sidelines, helping you see maybe a broader perspective or look at something at the minutia on why something's occurring in your life. Okay. So I look at it more like a support rather than a top-down pyramid guru type thing. That's not I'm not even signed up for that lifetime, nor do I want it. For Neith, after I deliver, we open up to group conversation. And this is really where I'm taking whatever was pinged in you at the time of my delivery, that we can take moments and go deeper into your own resonance with it or not, your questions with it or not, or whatever it is that's your feeling that needs to come forward for the group, will go there. So it's a very fluid and dynamic way. It's how I work. I call it circle consciousness, where I'm really allowing the group that shows up to determine how deep I can go in the records. Even though the class is developed, I might stray away from that in order to bring a deeper, richer conversation, depending on the group that's showing up.
I definitely plan on being a part of the group that's showing up. What's the date and time of the workshop?
Yikes, I think I should have wrote that down. I am teaching it next month, folks. That's just because I'm in a book launch right now. I believe,
I
or maybe
found it. I
okay,
found it.
good. Thanks.
Sunday, April 21st at noon Pacific
Yeah.
is the live class, which is 1-hour Zoom class, exclusive video and audio content, explore the Egyptian primordial goddess Neith. I am crossing my fingers and putting on my calendar to be there. So I'm hoping
Good.
that there's a depth that is made available, that shows it for me and the group, with my
Good.
presence there as well, and an intelligence that we can meet each other in all our masteries, and
Yeah.
combine that for us to really show
Hey,
up for ourselves and for others in the highest aligned way.
yes. And I do put in my coursework more material than I go over so that you can go back, mute my voice, and really take your time through the material. If you're, type person like me, I like to know answers. I like to know, the tangibilities of things, and it's in there. So if you have left brain, I'm meeting those needs.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, y'all, the course, April 21st, is $97, two payment option on that. Let's show up together. This is gonna be amazing. I'm receiving, like I said earlier, feel like I'm receiving this powerful transmission from you now. Such an alignment. So
Thank you.
this is so in alignment for me. And then there's the opportunity in package B where you get the course, the workshop that we'll be attending, but you get 30 minutes with Althea and Neith and the return of the Weavers. It's the course, but the session as well. And again, what I love about you, Althea, is that you hold me to my highest. It's like, well, you already know. What are you asking?
I
Or ask
do.
yourself. And this is but it's you.
Yeah, I know.
It can be
It
challenging.
is. I'm not the
But
easiest, I'll admit.
no, but it's such a beautiful initiation, really calling us forward into you've got this and step into that light on your own. Nobody needs to hold it for you.
Yeah,
And that's the type of change that we're really looking
we
for.
are. We want to know that I
Yeah.
asked the group that's coming to Egypt, there's majority of them are coming back from the previous time, but they asked me, how do we prepare for this one? Because we knew the first one was going to be a celebration, and this one's completely different. It's a celebration, but not the same. Like I said, the first one was joy, like high octane joy. Now the second one different. It's a deeper penetration into the mysteries. Let me put it that way. Anywho, they asked me, how do we show up for this one? Do you have any advice? And I said, ask a cosmic sized question that your soul yearns for that you forgot that you can even get the answer to. Ask a question like, surprise me, universe, with something that is so delicious that I want it. I want to taste it. I want to know it. Ask for something at that level when you walk into Egypt. Let it go and let that be received. Let
Mm,
it be received.
powerful, y'all. That's
Yeah.
powerful. And it's time that it's our capacity to receive is being pushed to the limits, being spread to limits, and it's beautiful.
It can be.
Sometimes we have to breathe into it a lot.
Trust
And
me.
over again. It's an attunement. It feels like we're drowning sometimes. And that's okay. Again, like Althea, trust, trust, trust.
Well, here's another level of trust. My husband went on a year and 3-month medical adventure.
Mm,
And at that same time, Spirit asked me to write a book. And I thought, oh my God, I'm so tired. And I didn't even give myself that excuse. Sometimes it was 3 a.m. writing. And I finished it. And I had my poor why me's and I had good excuses and I could have got out of it. And anybody would have said, totally, phone that one in. You're tired, you're busy. And I was like, no, I was given the assignment. I'm showing up.
mm.
And I have that type of determination. I just do.
Yeah, you do.
It's how I get the assignments.
All right, y'all. Again, the session with Althea, the workshop, for both packages, $199. For the workshop is $97. I hope to see y'all there. Take advantage of it. Again, the link's in the chat box for the special offer. You can click underneath the video where you're watching the call for the special offer, or if you're listening on some other device, just go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Althea 32, and you'll find that same page. All right, Althea, let's go to some Q&A, some video callers. So let's start with user 1481. Welcome to the call.
Hi, John. Hi, Althea. My name is Donna, and you answered questions before I could ask them, as usual. And I have been called, like, this is my time, and I have been asked to devote my energy toward this calling. I still don't know what it is. Every time I come to one of John's classes, I try one of the I get called on and I try one of the things and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm reading the Akash now. Okay, I guess and I find I'm answering questions I'm asking questions on the behalf of others, and I get frozen in my feet frozen to the floor, and downloads is the only way I can explain it. It doesn't come in. The download takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But for me to make the words, it's like I'm translating a light language into human, and it's a big task. Like, it takes a lot of focus to make the words for what just came through. Sometimes I remember it if it's for somebody else. Most of the time I forget it right after I say it. It's almost like when you wake from a dream and you have to tell the dream before it fades away.
So what's the question?
The question is, is there something I could just keep hearing practice, 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 just keep practicing. But is there a way, do you have any advice on how to translate message?
How's your, how do you feel about the mystery? Tell me, how do you feel about it? What's your relationship to the mystery?
I feel simultaneously exhilarated, and like, finally, I know why I'm here, because I've always felt like an alien on the planet. And but also frightened that I don't know if frightened's the right word, concerned. I take a lot of responsibility.
It
And
is.
I feel that I can't measure up.
All right, darling. When we have something coming through that we cannot control, there will always be a fear because we can't control it and we can't know it fully and completely. That's like what it'll hit us. It's like, I don't even know what's coming through. Okay. And so your practice, which is what was coming through to you, was accurate. That was extremely accurate. What I would suggest, although this isn't necessary, but it might be helpful, is that when you go to do something, before you do it, you create a practice. This is for you, not so much the person you're about to read for or channel for or do whatever it is that you do. It is for your human to feel a sense of, I got this. Okay. So before I work with anybody, I have certain protocols that I do. And I say a blessing, and I will do certain things like just harmonizing with myself so that I can create a container that my being, my inner self, my child, my teen, my human knows what I'm doing. That it says, okay, she is going to sit down with this client to receive this client. And what I would suggest for you is for you to have something that's so meaningful to you, whatever that is, okay? And I'm not giving you mine. I'm saying whatever yours is, I want you to do it each and every time you're about to work with anybody or perform.
I've done that with my Reiki practice in the past, and so I need to do it
This
every
is
time.
what you need to do, right? So it could be a simple word, like I always say, it won't even come through to me. You have to create it. So again, when you do that, you're telling your inner self, this is what's happening. And now I'm going to allow. So in terms of speeding it down so that the narrative becomes more cohesive and you get it out,
Yes.
it's practice. You will not get it first time around. Okay. Sometimes I have someone be going on, they'll talk to me. I'm like, stop. I have to go back to the first word that I was given because it's coming too fast. And if I lose it, it's gone. And it's just gone.
Yep.
So you're not a performing monkey.
Mhm.
You have your protocols. You're going to give it your best, and you're not going to hold yourself or slay yourself or betray yourself because you couldn't deliver it in 5 minutes or less. Have something post your session that reminds you you're 100% a student of the mystery and you're A-OK.
Mhm.
And have something that reinforces that as you become a student who is more clearly, I think of, who's the guy, Paul Selig, right? Remember, he would go really slow and then he goes really fast. And now he's like, volumes. It takes processes and time. And so remind yourself that you're in there too.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And you're going to do it. And you are doing it.
Okay. Thank
Good.
you.
Blessings to you, Donna.
Thank you.
All right, let's continue. Such beautiful practice, Althea. Thank you. Such beautiful energy, Donna. What a gift. All right, let's continue. Let's go to user 1353. Welcome. What is your name and what is your question for Althea? User 1353. Hi.
Hi, I'm Carol from Ohio.
Hi,
Thank
Carol.
you for taking my call, Jen and Althea. Wow, that last call was something. Really hit me. I've been very drawn to Egypt all my life, everything about it, but I have never been there. I was wondering if there's something that I had from there that can help me with my practices today, in the now,
Sure.
that I need to draw on.
Well, what's your practices?
Well, I do Reiki and energy healing, and of course I'm constantly working with Mother Gaia and putting positive energy into the planet, and now with the something new that has come up is working with the Pleiadians. They're telling us that we need to really work on that and the energy field and the I am. And so I do those practices every day.
Well, it almost came out of my mouth. Zep Tepi was the first time. So there was a colony of consciousness that occurred in Egypt, and it was called Zep Tepi. And it was a very clean and beautiful colony of consciousness that was star-driven, and meaning the Pleiadians were one of the first people on the play to have that energy. So if you're drawn to Pleiadian, you might begin to ask how that information may serve you in your work, and ask for it to be revealed in your work.
Okay.
So you can pull from the Pleiadians what's their purpose and what are they doing, and how can they help support you with your earth work.
Okay. That makes sense.
Ask.
That makes sense. That feels good. Okay.
Yeah, it feels good.
Just ask. I don't feel like I get a lot of incoming.
You do in
I'm
your
still
dreams.
working on the Claire.
You do in your
I
dreams.
don't remember anything.
You're getting
Okay.
it. You are. So
Okay.
if there is a dream that you're meant to have, ask for that your dreams become clearer.
Okay.
Okay. Ask for the memories to become clear that support you in this lifetime.
Okay. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
And
Jen.
I have to share something very earth-based for you.
Okay.
For us, really, for us. It's so clear that what you do and why you do, that there's this knowing of love that's accessible.
Mm.
There's a knowing of love. It's like at the essence, it's like, but everybody deserves this. And how do we get there? And we're heading into it. And how do we do it? And how do people receive it and feel it and then give it to one another?
Mm.
So from the very earthly perspective, how can you translate what you're receiving for others to benefit from, is to be an expression of that love, unrequited, without fear, without abandon. Be open to not just being the producer of it, but also being the receptacle for it as well.
Mhm.
And to open and expand that within that. If there's anything that is tying up the physical vessel, or that we believe is, then the practice and the flow of that inhuman form is what's going to set that free. Like with Donna, practice, 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 and you'll get that.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. Thank you,
Thank you,
Althea,
Jen.
for doing that.
Love that one.
Okay, we're gonna take more Q&A from y'all on video. I promise I'm gonna get to y'all. But someone's asking about negative starseed races. Are there negative starseed races here? Althea, you can interpret this. I heard that Orion starseeds are negative, and I was told in a reading to connect with them. So not sure if I should. Thank you.
In my book, I define starseeds. And I do it from a personal point of view, how the word came into play. And I cite the ancient Maya from South America, who have in their written cosmology, in their codex, and in their architecture, and in their cultural practices, that they point to the inbuilt of Orion, and then the two knees of Orion man, it's a man, right? And the two knees, which form a triangle, and they point to the middle of the triangle, which is to a creation, and they say that is where we're from. And so if you go to a pyramid and you see 3 stones, they're talking about the 3 stones of Orion, the 3 hearth stones. It's still practiced in South America. And what they pointed to was a creation where stars are born. That's called M32. And so I don't come from a negative, positive place when it comes to creation. I don't play out those narratives. I play out the fact that we will learn from extremes to learn love in this dimension that we're in. That doesn't mean it's everywhere. It just means it's some places. So I don't assign negative that way. It's just not how I operate. And I only had positive ET encounters. So I can't say if the Mayans came from Orion and they're pointing to their cosmology and have no break in their lineage of understanding who and what they're from, are the Mayan therefore negative? I wouldn't say that. What I would say is that in our nascence between good and evil, again, we'll come back to Neith. Who settles the score in the biggest fight between good and evil? Well, it's the mother, and it's Neith. She's called in to settle the score between Poseidon during Atlantis. She's called to settle the score between Horus and Osiris. And in fact, she literally says on some level, don't make me come down there, right? Don't let the mother come down there. She's going to pick levels of consciousness. I think at some point in our evolution, we will evolve out of the positive negative storyline and move into a universality in which we are learning to know the depths of love and the form from which we have come. That's what I think.
Beautifully put, Althea. Thank you. Thank you so
Welcome.
much. Ooh, y'all, this is amazing.
Mhm.
Join us on the workshop Sunday, April 21st, y'all. The special offer
Mhm.
links in the chat box. And get a session also. Highly recommended. Let's continue. User 1133. Welcome to the call.
Hi, my name's Barb.
Hi, Barb.
I was called to sort of watch this when you said the word weaver, because I'm a light weaver
Mhm.
and I weave light, but it came to me, I was listening, that I'm a love weaver
That's
also.
right.
And that
That's it. You got it. Mm.
and that
Mm.
my question that came to me that I'm supposed to ask this question. Ask if I can weave the love for Creator in a bigger way.
What a cosmic sized question. I'm in love with that question. So, I mean, wow. So you are, right? But you kind of want to what you are. So how do you want to weave that into form where your feedback, even whether you need it or not, demonstrates that you're doing that? Because we're in form. I mean,
Yes.
Well, for me, Althea, just even asking the question has already produced it.
yeah, I know, but I wanted to go like a little deeper. Like, it's kind of like, well, what does blue look like with this little hint of this? It's like, well, maybe I want to design it, right? So it's
Right.
like, so it's when the creators came down to put form onto this planet, they left us a legacy as stone. And that stone still talks, and that stone still performs, and those temples still act the way that they're meant to. They perform in the sense that each temple is different, but they can produce a wave of consciousness. So you're doing the same thing. So you're going to ripple out some love. You don't necessarily need to see it come back, meaning as in I am worthy, right? I got my worth because I saw something come back. No, I mean, it's like, if I'm going to do this rippling wave, what's the consciousness behind it? Like, what exactly does that wave look like?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Okay.
let's just say you want to uplift certain people with a certain vibration of joy, compassion, love, right? Tenderness, kindness. And all of a sudden let's say you did kindness. And then maybe for the next week, every single person that talks to you uses the word kindness.
Oh, okay.
The wave coming back at you, and your wink, right? It's like, yeah, 5 people talked to me about Atlantis today. I never talk about Atlantis.
Yes.
5 people.
And I had a conversation about Atlantis 30 minutes before we got on the call also, and I don't have that conversation either. That's so interesting. Yeah.
It's the wave, right? So we can have this opportunity like, okay, but Atlantis, let's talk about it on its high note. Let's talk about the men and women who didn't break the links, who stayed true to the earth, who stayed true to love, and they're fucking back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weaving.
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 Creating
I
a
can
wave.
I weave almost anything. It might be something in nature. It might be an eagle flying by, and I'll weave in that energy. It might be a rock or a stone. I often have stones here that are heart-shaped. Can be a crystal that I don't have. It'll be often it's etheric things that I'm weaving in. I could weave in something for your cell, for your ATP, or the mitochondria. It could be the Akashic records. It's just whatever comes through. Unicorns, I weave with the unicorn horn on my head.
That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much for being such an amazing weaver.
It all just sort of came through, and I had to trust. I thought, oh, what am I moving my head for? Oh, I've got a unicorn horn, and I could image unicorn, and it just sort of came, and I just had to trust everything.
So the unicorn is a symbol that goes all the way back to Scotia, who is Egyptian, and she went to Ireland, and then she went off to Scotland, and their symbol, right, of the Scottish people is the unicorn, right? Because she had the ability, and the unicorn has the ability to see through the third eye.
Okay, yes, yes,
Very old school.
yes.
All
And
right, love,
dragons come in too, so.
another conversation. Yes, love. Thank you so much for your questions
Thank
today.
you, thank
So
you,
beautiful.
Thank you.
thank you.
Amazing weaver that you're being. So awesome.
Dragons.
All right, love this, love this. Leslie, you're not on video, but you're on audio. You have your hand raised. You want to unmute?
Yeah, I don't know why my video, let me see if I can start it. No, it won't let me start. Sorry about that. Hi, thank you. Okay, so this is such an amazing conversation. I am a weaver, like I weave fabric. And that is my profession. I've had it for years. And when I fell into it, I knew it was special because of the way that it came into my life. And I think I'm at a point now, I mean, I've been weaving for 30 years, but I want to merge my professional life as a weaver with my spiritual life. And I don't think it's a coincidence. And in this lifetime, I'm an actual fabric weaver. But I get lost in the 3D world and making money and things like that. And I'm also a mother, and I have a somewhat challenging teen. And so I feel like I don't get to weave, and it hurts. So I'm trusting there's something there for me, but I don't know what it is, like how I'm supposed to allow myself the importance of weaving, even for the changing of the consciousness. Does that make sense?
That was a lot. It was an enchilada kind of question. Okay.
Yeah.
Start with one thing. All right. Take some inspiration that you have. It's a story, and weave that story into the fabric that you're about to do, and then showcase that story on your wall and allow that story to talk, and allow yourself to have that narrative with the woven fabric as a storyline, like a book. Okay. So the ancients in South America would tie knots, and the knot in the string told their legacy and history and oral story. So you can weave into your fabric that very initiation story that you want to convey in the presence of the fabric, like an art piece, like an artist that you are. And this is your daily showing up for your soul. Okay, before you monetize it, it's your daily homework. And you show up, and then another story, and another story. And soon you're building a book, and the book of business comes when you have created your gallery of stories. And then when it's on the walls and you're selling your gallery of stories, see who comes and reads your story. Like the starseed who read the sound wave without knowing what I did.
And when you say my stories, can those be my human stories of struggle?
It's everything you feel that you will weave into your tapestry.
Okay. So I don't have to focus on, oh, this has to be high energy life.
Nope. It's your story as it's meant to be.
Got it. I think I've been separating those two worlds and trying to.
You start with you first and watch your evolution fly.
Okay.
Watch those fingers fly.
In the shuttle. Yes. Thank you.
I love what you're bringing through, Althea, because in the weaving the truth, rather than a manipulation of what we're pretending to be, there's an anchoring that's actually occurring, that's creating in the flow of what you're feeling that inspiration is guiding you from. The second we try to manipulate the outcome, that's when things don't stick or they start turning in ways that can't be in alignment because it's not in truth.
It's not in truth. And Neith wore a shuttlecock on top of her head. That's part of the weaving. So did Athena. They had the shuttle, the weaver. I mean, it could be interpreted many different ways, but weaving is one of them.
Althea, I wonder if you encourage or are a proponent, or if you personally work with altars also and set up sacred space for some of these ceremonial type of processes.
I am a light packer and a carry-on type of traveler. And so I don't do altars. I believe fully in altars. I truly do. I think people need form. I work in formless, so it's just a little bit of a different shift, but I believe people need form and they need beauty around them, and they need that symbolic daily coming to something that's on your table that is representative of your intentions, your soul, your journey. I think it's so, so vitally important.
I was seeing that strongly for Leslie. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh, love that.
Yeah.
That's
Nice. Nice.
so
nice.
Leslie, there you go. Set up an altar for what you're creating and reverence for all of your history, not just for the good. And reverence for
whole
all
bit.
of it.
Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my God, that's amazing. All right, Linda, we've got you on the call. Let's get you to unmute. Hi, Linda. We don't have your audio today, Linda. Love, maybe you can type your question.
Got it. No, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Okay, okay.
Yes. There's just a setting that doesn't always come in. Okay, so Althea, long ago, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, you were talking about whales and dolphins and that sound, and how is that being incorporated now in your work?
The dolphins come in for me to remind me to play. When I began 10 years ago, I had certain people, places, and spaces I had to go to. You could call it karma. People that I was lived, loved, and died with that I had to meet, and that had to express to me, and I expressed to them. And so the dolphins would come in to really bring levity into my life, because it's a little heavy when you're working out some karma. That ended in 2019. So it's just true. And now in terms of the weavers, I feel are ultimately the dolphins and the whales. You know, they're coming in and they're doing the planetary weaving, the song lines, they're doing that. I don't tap into them right now. I'm not near water so much, but yeah, they're always there. You don't really lose your connection to anything that you're working with. It's just what you're doing now, you know, and I'm kind of knee deep in the Egyptian stuff. Yeah.
And Linda, I'm curious why you're asking about the whales and the dolphins.
Because she had very many CDs out, and they were really pretty, and she incorporated the sound and I felt the light too was woven through the songs. So that's what drew me to her for that. Speaking of Atlantis and the Mayans, it's interesting because I've written poetry about both of them.
Oh, you have?
Mm-hmm.
They're
Very
highly
pretty.
connected. They're highly connected, those two cultures.
Amazing. All right, Linda, I muted you because we've got all the background rap music in the back. But yeah, thanks for coming on and asking the questions about that and bringing it into presence as well.
And John, I really appreciate you having me on talking about this subject. It isn't something that is, you know, highly digestible for a lot of people because it is so remote. But I'm really thankful you've given me this opportunity, really.
No, I'm grateful that you're on here, and I'm grateful for our opportunity to go deeper with you in the workshop. And I'm really looking forward to go deeper with you in my private session as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for coming on and for sharing from just this amazing space. It's just I feel like I can breathe deeply into, and that I'm looking forward to be even more initiated into as well. Part of that adventure, right, Donna? That adventure. Amazing. So again, thank you for the way that you show up. Thank you for being so generous. And thank you for being the consciousness that you're choosing to be for yourself and for all of us simultaneously.
Thanks.
Yeah. Bow to you. Bow to you. And thank all of y'all on the call for your consciousness, for your love, for your light and darkness, y'all. All of it. You know, the light in me bows to the light in you, and the darkness in me bows to the darkness in you. And I see it all as part of the divine, truly. So again, and just holy reverence to all of y'all. Look to see you in the workshop. Look forward to seeing you on the workshop, and look forward to seeing y'all on the next call. Until then, have a fantastic day.
Hi, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Althea.